like to call to order the fire district board meeting of July 16th. Call the roll, please.
George? Here. Edwards? Here. Stein?
Yes.
Vermont?
Yes.
Huff? Yes. Meridian?
Yes.
Engel? Here.
Please all silence your cell phones. And just a minute. The approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make it as rich as possible. All that I was just the ISDS spreadsheet report. I think I know. We'll get a few up there at some point. Sure. So I'll go by the map.
Why don't we bring it up in Thursday?
Okay.
We have approval of the minutes. Second.
Right.
We have approval of the agenda as we stand for June. Okay, we have approval of the minutes of the June 18th meeting. I'm actually approving the minutes of June 18th. I'll support. Is there any discussion? But you did it so good because it was good. Because it's today, not then. I'll make the motion. We had a motion last time, we second time. Miller. Okay, second by Miller. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes. Any opposed? We have public comment on the agenda items. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and 6 minutes to respect the procedure. None. We have a cost recovery appeal. Greg, you want to explain a little bit more?
So we filed a phone call on this as far as what the criteria was for the planning basis that we use for the policy as far as in order to provide safety for the purpose that it is. It was a certain incident was the car was invading in the trees and one of the delays was waiting for a chainsaw for the record company to come. So, we have supposed to assume that you've read the reports. There's also, before the police report on that gives, similar history to what happened at this incident. I know that you necessarily understand it, but I'm sure that the speak right after the speak.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
We also have one of the officers here that were at the scene, duty officer, Deputy Chief Michael, the lieutenant here, of the sergeants, who are there too.
I have a couple of procedure questions, if I may. Okay. This letter, is this a form letter, so you're acting on behalf of the township here in the verbiage? Is it a form letter that was approved by the township, or did it township?
The township set some parameters that they wanted us to use as far as this, about motor vehicle incidents.
Right.
So that's what we use. That's what my husband using for probably 4.5 years.
Yes, I found it.
Change occurred first when oversight for anything but motor vehicle incidents went to the appeal process went to Ghana.
Right.
But for other eyes, it came to this board.
So is that, you're representing the township because it says on on 196.
Including that jurisdiction.
Okay, that's good. Just out of curiosity, the driver's license for 32 weeks? The picture?
Yes.
Is that, can you typically do that also?
Yes.
I think in a few travels, they're like a, license plate. Is that kind of question?
I see that. They have a right to appeal it, and I guess they can test the charges. As you can see from the attorney's letter, he pretty much shows that whenever possible extension of bail, I assure you I did not. We followed protocol. We did not create the accident. If the police man is called off, they would call this out, they didn't. I personally was going to draw it out with Deputy Sheriff Ted Munson. We had the use of rush to get the driver out. And we had to block the lane, which is protocol for safety, because the tow driver was on the inside lane. So we had to shut down our lanes there, and I was in Airborne and Cantor and block and the ambulance that was there to the direction of the two sheriffs that were there. So we've done every on this that we've done on every other incident.
Oh, yeah. My name is Jason D'Anto. I represent the story of criminal matter in Ireland and Officer Cloud of Cuba. I understand that protocol was followed. That doesn't mean that it wasn't a creation of extraordinary or excessive cost by the fire department. It seems like there were 8 firefighters that were sent out. A total of 15 and a half hours to 5 vehicles were sent out. And that may be protocol, but it was a one-time accident where my client actually, in the letter, says they need to, extrication was done by this department. She was already out of the vehicle, so they did not fire the firefighter. She was already in that. She was climbing out of the vehicle. So she climbed out of the vehicle. Then it indicates in here that the units remained on scene until the vehicle could be safely towed. Does it require that 8 firefighters remain and make sure that the vehicle is safely towed out of there? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense in light of the fact that the deputy who arrested my client indicated that there was a deputy already there who was assisting with that and made sure that the vehicle was safely towed out of there. So that was another 8 units. So the total of wages was $531.25. The total for 5 vehicles that were funded was $4,068.75. So I don't know exactly what it cost. I don't know where these figures come from, so they come up with $262.50 an hour for engine 1 and all that. Sheriff, did you not put that up? So it wasn't the time and stuff you could do it? And we acknowledge that my client got in an accident. He created these circumstances. But it seems like 8 firefighters, 5 vehicles, 15 and a half hours of labor, 8 units for the firefighting vehicles and all that. It seems quite excessive, and that this bill is unreasonable to expect my client to put bill for that. Total of $1,795. And I'm not sure what the total cost is here to repair this. If you want to hear from my client, you can explain what happened, what her recollection is, is that something that this occurred.
She let me speak as far as I'm concerned. But I may have a chance to reply to you.
And those are the objections that we have all efforts on the panel.
So,
just one question, what would you think, is this fair enough?
Yeah, I mean, figure a fair amount in my head. I feel like there is definitely, if there was a need for response,
Right?
probably
Pretty well, that's it.
I acknowledge that, and that there's going to be some labor involved. I just feel like it seems like overkill to send this many units, and to have that many people remain on scene, there's a simple total cost. So I would say at least knock off 5 hours of labor for the guys that are just sitting there watching the vehicle get pulled out of there. And the vehicle still remains there. What is going on?
I was approached by you, to reduce the bill, reduce the $450 that was rejected. Just so you know, it was rejected.
Yeah, I spoke with my client, she can explain that.
Okay, thanks. Good information.
No, that's us.
That's the motor vehicle insurance. This is as well as out of the township change. I'm sorry, sir.
I don't have anything further to say.
Walk through my experience with it, following the crash. I did obviously conscious at the time and trying to get out of the vehicle immediately after it happened. I had trouble opening the driver's side door. So when I did not have a chance to open that door, so I went to the house. I called the cops to do not inside. Okay, so open that door. That I was able to register. Firstly, I have not been personally responsible for any of this crap. So I was worried, I didn't know what I was just trying to get out of the car. So then I was wedging my way out of the passenger side of the door without the allowing me to, but should only have been required to me. So I received a letter in the mail charging, saying that it required some education. That sort of did the flag in my mind. Extricated and removed myself back in my own system. So that was a concern that I had from looking at it standpoint. From people that I've spoken with, the legal community, I suppose, which I do not know many, but it seems an incredible shock to people that the response that was received, having not involved fire, no serious physical injury, no direct contact with my car, or such like that. It became such a large bill for just limited contact directly.
So why did you want to reduce by $450? That would pay you about 5 hours or over.
I was told
We also, for the record, we just received them before
$345, it reduced it to $1,450 is what I meant to say, it's $1,350.
Okay. Okay. So that's almost. Okay. Thank you.
Request that you listen to the officer's response on this. Here's one of the criteria. To us, This was 100% preventable. It was drinking water. That's number one criteria. It was preventable. We don't want to be on the highway, even though we have to be. But we have to protect people on the highway. We are traffic incident management certified service and instructors, and it requires walking down to airways till the tow truck driver is removed from the scene. And that's how we do it. It's no different than any other one. But you should look at some of the officers that were on scene as far as what occurred. Right?
off the 345.
Well, just completely,
And these are equipment on the highway to protect people that are working on the highway. So, protecting the first responders, we protect the ambulance drivers, we protect the police officers, and we protect you on the highway. So that somebody doesn't, you hear a billion accidents where first responders are killed or spectators are killed on the highway. So we try to block highways so that everybody's safe at the scene, and that's costly, but it's your right, their right.
And I think that discretion solely lies with the chief, especially with respect to what we need, that's what we need. He's the expert. And I think his reasons today, and I think the offer was very fair, and thank you for being flexible.
Yes, sir.
So, we're going to present it as an expert. And how we know what the sidewalks are? There's traffic.
Not far, not portable now. We got a lot of things going on, and I said it earlier, part of the noise there is on the side of caution, which is bringing vehicles there, and making sure everyone is there to do something safely. I push your point of the hours and spending the time of the deployed point, thank you. I didn't even think about that, but it's scheduled on the team for 2.5 hours, and we sent up home and people home. I feel we did what we were supposed to.
Unfortunately, we've got $400 legal costs this time to discuss, so we're momentum discussing. So I would move that we just go ahead and approve this cost recovery assessment and reject the request. This is great. That was the operator.
I would say we should pay for it, we have to right now.
So the reduction is part of the reduction.
So we do 1450,
Correct.
is what we will be requesting. I don't know if we will be, leadership board is on it.
I'll tell you.
And I have a motion on the floor, and a second by Kathy, to charge the cost recovery in the amount of $4.50. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah, right, what can I say is, let's do, I don't think we need as much background information next time. I think we could probably clear that back with it.
Especially in the
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to come in. Yeah.
It's not that you said that this was property because of the change in
There are some objections on the cost recovery process, and things, the township needs more involvement on our cost recovery, or mitigate the incidents. And that would shift it, we suggested we shift it to the fire board, because as you look at that, you go, my God, what, that you have to be qualified to determine what's too much. So I guess,
yeah, but I don't think this is a result of that change. This is how it was done before, wasn't it?
the real question was, there's a sheet for the fire board,
Yeah.
and then we could go to the township and go there as a result. Some distinct changes, where originally it was all go to the zoning administrator.
Okay, so then more before the hearing on ordinance for the blanket zoning administrator, you said?
It depends on the zoning administrator now.
Okay, so this incident is going to go happen with all these parents and hypothetical.
Yeah, so we've never had it. We've never had it repealed, that's why everybody's kind of, because we never had it repealed. But now what we do is we improve that process with the cost recovery, so we're gonna get that, but
I'm just concerned about the whole process, I guess, I got the picture.
I do too.
We're not right. But you don't need a driving license.
To be honest with you, we have a real concern about getting that packet last Friday, and all that information. I don't think we're having our lawyers sit there and... Let's go over the team.
Okay, we have other issues.
Now, listen, what I should say,
Because if you want to really think, there's directed, you directed by the red, and why are we going to say that we don't have a picture?
because I don't want to backtrack anybody's information. He told me about the stem, and he cleared the information.
You're okay, it's consistent,
Yes, sir.
okay, then I think
You did. That's what it is.
I mean, we're looking for you to clear up there.
That's what it is. What are you saying?
Okay, now how much should we spend, with, legal, first?
6:20.
There you go.
Their attorney contacted our attorney, which they're going to get both there, to try to problem with. The American contacts me, and in between all the costs today, I've got to deal with this.
I think it's good that you try to work with them next time. If you do that, you have to get us some for us to have.
I have it. I promise you. I have negotiated those going. I saw that.
That's good.
If they're Christine on board, I have done that.
Yeah, we did.
I would say though, in the future, if we're gonna have something like this, I don't like people interested. I would rather have the board meet on a special workshop to discuss it, and how they're gonna handle it. Because I don't know if we even handled it right here. I mean, we did what we did, but we've never had one. We do that. And we really don't do it.
Then they make a decision.
You know, we can make a decision, so we can discuss it, how we're gonna handle it.
But they could be, yeah, but they could be there.
They never suggested that or should have said it. If they're going to should have said it.
Well, you know, we didn't know that.
I
was trying to avoid some 250
I
have questions about some of the equipment stuff like that, but Chris answered it right there, which is, I didn't know that. Well, just some details, maybe I should know Chris.
Okay.
Well, that's all those questions, and when you guys get this started, and now I was trying to explain all that stuff, but, what we can do is, I've got more time, we can, include that background information in the packet, and I guess,
That background information is going to be personal information. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, I'll say the same thing I said, if you think you need personnel and equipment there, that's your call. I'll support you on it.
I appreciate that, because we're not changing that.
No, absolutely not. No,
No, it's too big on the road, we shouldn't have done that.
no, no,
People are going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, like, we're kind of blocked. That's what it is, so.
yeah, I mean,
Well, that's in the report, but I don't want to get into that.
I mean,
Because the early qualified items are away from that.
I would hope it's going to,
Yeah. Well, everybody goes and start on nothing, and that's how the officer deserves to live with that.
no, this is whole, thing is awesome, you just have,
yeah, she probably spent more money than...
I'm just saying, what about the other people in the room, yeah, where do you come from? Yeah. She doesn't go around, I don't know. He's out of, yeah.
What's the doctor?
He's strong.
I don't know, a year, I
I don't think she
She was blocked,
I'm not sure.
I don't, that's what she does. Okay.
Okay, moving on, Tom Taylor. Are the motions to pay the bill?
tanker, and it's not, equipped with a pump, and we got a drop-in cleaning plant that put a pump on there, a phone going to make a very small pump, to mirror the other tank, because we find we need to pump the water rather than to pump it. So we were planning it for about 2 weeks.
I know that is my question on the live fire company. We are paid, but we didn't pay the other part. It's not really.
Right, for example, the 4th of July, presentation, there were 3 of us, 2 of the guys that pay a year, but all the supplies that paid for it, like grass to fire, and then it was all actually run off the rock, and fire equipment, and paid for it. No, I'm sorry, right side by side. I'll remember about that. The last fire is part of the partnership.
Fire station sound?
One fire in the neighboring town, we had to put flag on it, and we buried some trucks. And we ended up on the grass, because there's no room for it. The other one tried to pull in, pull that out, and ended up in the belly. It was a record something. We tried to pull it.
Is our cheapest price for notifications like the public hearing to an observer, commercial record, if we ever analyze that in the regional observer?
That was something new.
That's what we used in the past. I think we did a couple of years ago, we had a price and they, the other newspaper, anyway.
I think we're going to get
That public hearing once a year, so,
Okay.
$150.
To that in Douglas.
Yeah. Observers for that's the assignment.
I got it. And the weapons center. Like a lot of pictures. We were leaving with that.
we hadn't gotten, there was no payroll from them. One of the projects that was, one of them was a video or two of side-by-side doing it. I think there was just 8 hours of editing on that.
And we got reimbursed from that,
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll call vote?
Yes. Beckman?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Dunning?
Yes.
And Willard? Yes.
The financial report.
In fact, this is the bills that were paid through the fiscal years from June 30th to 18. So basically, overall revenue was collected everything, $1,232,000, just shy of $33,000. And then the expense side, we spent $1,127,000. We probably have a few more bills out there that have a June 30th date. So right now, roughly about $105,000 left to fund balance. Which, I think that's the first time we had a fund balance in a couple of years ago. The majority of that was earned through basically the capital improvement fund. I think we have to take the questions, or, the $105,000 right now might go down a little bit, I don't know what it is, but, yeah, because I know that pump project, I don't know if there are 2 more bills they're going to give us for the end.
Yeah, but most of the rest of it's gonna be done in August, but still be invoiced on the last fiscal year, because that's when the board approved it. For this year.
Okay, great. Moving on, there's any no other comments? Moving on, fire chief's comments?
Moving on to incident reports. You can see, June with the 94 reports. So June with the 94, just went on 2016. This just shows records on 2016 reading as follows. Shows the highlights for them. That's particularly good.
Operation outbreak and work for the school. They have some 1-4.
Okay? And about 19% up on calls, you can see the bottom. If the 402 was you're short 1/5 of your fleet. He's been out since July 1st. He's been on 100 since January 5th. So I think the crew has done a great job with the 18, I think more was 25% increase. So that's why a lot of us are doing a lot of hours because we're trying to supplement the being short on about full-time people. Right. Monthly reporting, the quality reporting, just shows the different categories. Price allowance, given 10 cars, service cars, so on and so forth. Very well organized with disaster. Typical 200 series is your first responder cars, about 59%. Okay.
In the hard season, we had 17 fires, that actually combustion, and we had the fire.
Usually around 30 or 45, and more like 6 months or 17, that's crazy, man.
For some reason, number 4, that it 1.64, but that must be very early in the year. So we've had quite a few people.
We're at 10 days.
Okay.
You know, a little crack fire, down fire.
So of those 17 fires, how many have you documented having IoT issues that doesn't have a spreadsheet?
Honestly, not that. Under that specific because that is the clue that we have to go
Okay.
It cannot be a different category.
Okay.
How do you be down in the service call, put it in pockets.
What was that? In the green.
Other 5 and 6 months.
That's where the IoT issues have, that's where they fall, is in a service.
You have one like, just over one like 15 on the one, for example, 4th of July was Sky Entry,
Right?
and that now was not, you can't go in that township, if it's released by the one or two family dwelling. So it doesn't show up, because we don't have a fire plant. But that's the impact we realize, and that's the best increment from the township, now we're going to chase it down, because we don't know where it came from, and we know that you got caught up with fire that night anyway, on 4th of July. Information on 4th of July, we get a lot of spelling entries.
And how does it have to do with whether it's in a township or with the bill that doesn't extend?
Because the fire code prohibits spelling entries, and spelling entries and 1 or 2 family dwellings, 1 or 2 family dwelling owners are obliged to follow the fire code for spelling entries.
Okay.
That's just one, an example.
All right.
to see that stuff like that. You're going to request to come over and, this is a smoke around trip, and then again, we just had
You know, I can't find my glasses, things of that nature.
Need help going to the bathroom?
There was one that they called me at home that was at Saturday. The police called me at home and they needed a woman to help. The police couldn't take the woman to the bathroom. They wanted a female responder, so I got a crew that was leaving the scene. They detoured to another project and helped the woman go to the bathroom. So,
Now, for something like that, do we charge back?
no, we haven't, because they're taxpayers, it's a balance. You know, it's just like you have somebody who's got, let's just say, a chronic disease that you're going to 3-4 times a month. You know, hopefully they get help and they get over that spell. When you have it maybe 8, 9, 10 months, you start to say, we aren't a rehab facility, or we aren't a medical care facility. So it's really hard on some of those to figure out. Usually you try to get help for them. We have one now that, we're constantly picking up because people want independence now. No, we have not built them. We really don't intend to.
But we do look for help for them, so that we won't need to.
Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, I can see where it's a fine line of, you
And,
wouldn't
you know,
want
it's just
someone
like-
leaning on you to be there nursing.
We get called for, because there's 3 houses loose, 3 horses loose downtown Douglas. What does that have to do with the fire department? But you're gonna find that we get called for everything.
That really happened?
Yes, it did. It's on the front page of the paper. 3 horses loose in Douglas. What do we do?
Because they couldn't find the bike
Call the fire.
Yeah, so you get to close the gate again.
Next slide, please.
Seeming like the green on the guard path.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
All right, so we covered second quarter. Anything else there, Eric? What else? Motor vehicle incidents, you can see 43 at this time of the year. That's where we're at. And then by month, July's on there, we've had 6 so far. Our boat incidents, 3 boats in distress calls, 1 missing, or 1 water rescue, 1 work detail, 2 training sessions. Special events, way up there in June. And this shows the activity by the area for the 6 months. Our healthcare facility in Douglas, only 1 assist in July. Overlapping calls in July, with 13 so far. In June, we had 25. Pretty typical. By area. And protect the property values. Okay. And personnel response is the last slide up there, I think. And you can see the activity of the people. John is way out there. We have to, Eric has to constantly adjust the chart because John ends up off the grid. He handled 17 calls this weekend. And then our response times.
This is the last slide, but I think if you and John could elaborate on one of the service calls we had recently off at the American Inn of what not to do the night before your wedding.
No, it was the night of the wedding.
Oh, it was the night of the wedding, okay.
Yeah, then it got too hot, they had to cool it down.
Okay.
You're right, chief.
I got called at about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a duty officer call, and when that happens, I kind of tune it out, so I'm not going to every call there is. And I got a phone call from John requesting assistance at a hotel, and the sprinkler system was activated. Somebody had hung a dress on the sprinkler head and broke the head, so the room was flooding, and that end of the hotel was flooding. So I gave him some direction over the phone, headed down there, and you have 3 choices. You evacuate 130 people out of the hotel at 3:30 in the morning, which is not popular. You get a sprinkler fitter in there at 3:30 in the morning, which doesn't work, or they sign a waiver, agree to let me replace the sprinkler head. So they opted for the 3rd choice. No sprinkler head. And I knew the owner owned another hotel. So I sent the owner and one of our guys to go get the sprinkler head, and I changed it. It's just an absolute disaster, mess. But everybody was able to stay there. It just flooded. People had to double up in rooms because it was the wedding party was at that end. A lot of damage. So.
How will that bride get, like, billed?
Pardon me?
Because she hung her dress on.
How much damage was that?
I'd say 50 to 75,000.
Just from a sprinkler head.
Mhm.
Thousands of gallons of water.
So much for property protection.
I stay in a lot of hotels, and every single one of them have do not hang.
Yeah.
Little tag.
Yeah.
And we suggested to the owner that he does that, you know, so, and they had to get a sprinkler company in there, as agreed on Saturday to fire alarm control panel, there was something wrong with it, and they had to look at what the head I put in to make sure that was okay. So, yeah, it was a long morning, and most of us had run all day and night. I think I got home at 5:30 that morning. But, I mean, nobody had to move out. So that's what you want to hear? Okay. Trying to forget that part.
Well, if you're gonna get married, make sure you...
The interesting thing was the bride's father was a retired fire inspector.
He was so proud. Okay, so, community risk reduction.
Chris organized another smoke alarm blitz. That's where you get a bunch of personnel together. You go to Saugatuck RV Resort or other areas and install smoke alarms. So he had 12 people volunteered 3.5 hours on a Saturday, and they installed almost 70 smoke alarms and 33 carbon monoxide alarms. So it's a real big plus for the community. Those devices were received on a grant. So we feel this is very successful, and I think this is the 4th one we've done. We've done some with neighboring departments.
I got a question about that. We're talking about behind the ice cream place, Saugatuck RV. I thought we did this only for low-income housing and stuff like that. I mean, aren't we pushing the envelope if we start putting them everywhere?
Well, we have been doing it for when they're rentals, when they're paid. We've done it in judges' houses. So there's no income level. Where we draw the line is commercial or rentals. We don't put them in there. We do them for single-family
Why
dwellings.
not rentals?
Because it's for hire.
Well, income-producing property.
Yeah, and I think the grant even allows that.
Okay.
They're
The grant-
expected already, anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so they couldn't have rented it if they didn't have them, the rental properties.
Correct.
Because that's where someone's gonna leave a stove on.
Right, and we check that when we inspect them,
Okay.
if they're legal rentals.
Can I clarify, Chief, the grant was originally written, obviously, for low-income properties as well as high-risk communities, which the RV park, Douglas Estates, Johnson Village, and then the one on Arrowhead Drive were the 4 I used to get the counts of numbers to get the smoke alarms we received. So we actually still have roughly 400 smoke alarms left and need to finish Arrowhead as the last park we have to hit, and then whatever, we are still installing any home that asks. It's just we just don't get the requests nearly as much because most of them are newer homes or they just don't want us in them, I'm not sure which.
I guess I just always thought it was lower income, but it makes sense.
Those are our target areas, like, for
Yep.
example, right now, we want to do,
Yeah,
Harbor Senior Apartments, I mean, nothing to hide here. You know, they pay rent, that's subsidized housing. That building is so old, there's only smoke alarms in the hallways. They aren't in the bedrooms, so we want to get grant approval from FEMA to allow us to provide smoke alarms for the bedrooms, because that's a target hazard.
Yeah.
But we have to appeal FEMA when we have time to do that. So, and there's not one carbon monoxide alarm in those either. Okay, our monthly update, State of Michigan has experienced 65 fatal fires to date in 2018, 4 since the last meeting. Briefly touched on this, firefighter injury. We have one that is out, saw him today. He actually goes in for an appointment on the 24th, but according to workers' compensation, he gets evaluated on August 6th to see when and if he can come back. In your packet is the Elgin County Sheriff Office's, the Community Awareness Program. That is the one, that's Wednesday. And what that is a program that the sheriff is going to use about kind of a watch campaign for people that are out walking their dog, kind of a neighborhood watch. And they're going to have the meeting here. And that was just an announcement for that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of early morning dog walkers, and they want them to be aware of what they're seeing in the community. The dog walkers probably have the most information of anybody in the community.
The National Night Out is the next one that I was alluding to, on Tuesday, August 7th, where it's a coast-to-coast deal, where typically on August 7th, you meet first responders, police, that type of thing. So that's in Coughlin Park on August 7th, that's that announcement. That concludes my comments.
Okay, moving along to unfinished business, the Fire Code Board of Appeals status update.
I sent the last language that had City of Saugatuck, I sent that to Douglas, and I sent it to Township, so they could revise that, fit their language, so to speak. So I sent that, I think, a week ago to Steve Cushion, and Douglas has it. So that's where we're at on the Fire Code Board of Appeals.
So, once approved by all boards, you guys, will come back to us, we'll approve it, and we'll send it to them for whatever. They'll all vote on it. Okay. So how long away are we from having this Board of Appeals?
I think right now it's in the hands, I think the way it's gonna work, Chris, is that
So the language that we just approved at my board meeting has got to be changed again, is what you're telling me.
they have to put, yeah, because it's the City of Saugatuck. They have to put in Saugatuck Township, or Township of Saugatuck. What I sent to Steve Cushion was the language. What the lawyer did was draft it so that it could be changed proprietary to the jurisdiction.
And all we have to do is
Change that, then I think what you have to do is put it in the paper. It has to be posted.
okay.
I know it's on our agenda for tonight.
Right.
I'll put it on our August agenda, have that approved, and then we can get it in the paper.
Right.
And so we're talking August before this board can have action on it.
Correct.
Because we'll just put it in the paper, and then once it's been in there, so many days
Then
after, it's good.
Then it's adopted,
Yeah,
right.
okay. So we're looking at August or September for us to have a Board of Appeals. Because a question was asked to me, and I said, geez, I don't know, I thought we were ready to approve it tonight, but we're not.
No, because we had to change language.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Okay, moving on. MMRMA net asset distribution.
So what this is your insurance company. It's a pool. It's not a private company. It's an ownership situation, so the fire department got $11,276 back as a net asset distribution.
good, because we just paid them $11,642, right?
So I guess it was basically free.
If we get that amount again next year, right? Which we have been, they've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, they have.
Okay, so, next on the agenda is a funding approval request for personal protection equipment.
Chris, you want to bring this up since you drafted the request?
Yeah, so we started back in probably, well, essentially, turnout gear is good for 10 years, and has to be replaced every 10 years to stay in compliance with the National Fire Protection Association. We started back in January, February, working with the 5 different vendors in the area, so we could see if we want to stay with the current year we're in, or potentially switch to something new. There have been several deficiencies, and just the current year we're in is not lasting well and wearing well, so we wanted to see if there was something better on the market, and for the most part, I think everybody's come to the conclusion that we are going to probably switch to a new vendor that is both more cost-effective, durable, and I've asked for references for 5 other fire departments that are using it in Michigan, and actually got 30, and contacted a handful of those, and everybody's very happy with it, and some of them have been in it for almost 15 years. So essentially what we did was we budgeted $25,000 a year, so we have money in the regular operating budget to purchase the PPE. So right now, we're just asking to purchase 6 sets, which still leaves money in case we do happen to hire someone else, and we need to buy them a set that they don't fit into something we already have. So can answer any questions if you'd like. But
I wanted to point out something. What's happening lately is the cancer that's being produced from the turnout gear, when it's not cleaned or it can't be cleaned. So if when the firefighter's in a fire, he has to come back and wash the gear. It's mandatory. The problem is the gear's taken apart. So one advantage to this is they're going to have a backup set of gear as we get into the cycle of having more turnout gear, because it's going to take you probably 15 minutes to assemble turnout gear, and you can't dry it. It's got to be air dried. So another advantage to this is a backup set of gear. The primary would be the new gear, and we're trying to budget it out so you buy 5 to 6 sets a year, so we don't get hit with $120,000 worth of turnout gear.
So, could I have a motion to proceed with the funding for personal protection equipment?
Make a motion to approve the $21,000 for personal protective equipment.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Phelps and a second by Beckman. Are there any more questions?
I appreciate you doing your due diligence, Chris. I know it's easy to take an easy road, but to do the research, appreciate that.
Is the roll call vote?
yes, ma'am. Phelps,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Rory,
Yes.
Staring,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Meridian,
Yes.
and Miller.
Yep.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to funding approval for the back barn roof.
Another one that Chris and I talked about, and this back barn roof is overdue. Some of you may have been on board. We did the roof here. It's original. The back building is original. It is leaking. We would certainly like to replace the roof. And we also get a benefit of adding some insulation on the top. So the request is for, it's the same contractor that did this roof, for $14,216 to add insulation and do a membrane roof over the roof in the back.
I assume we got more than one quote, or did you just go with this?
No, we had 3 quotes.
What's stored in the barn?
It's really the shop, because we're not allowed to work on the trucks here because of the drain system.
Right.
So it's a shop, plus there's a mezzanine with storage, so the turnout gear is back there.
Okay.
Stuff for the open house. The brush trucks are back there, and that's, and the shop is there.
Okay.
And the boat was in there this winter.
Correct. It's a heated storage.
And some other interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was budgeted for. We did plan it.
Chief, just one amendment to that, though, this price on here is actually $650 more than what was in the capital plan because of oil prices rising. That the quote I got in January when I made the capital plan has changed as of last week. And he just told me that on Friday, so I didn't get a chance to
And
tell
I
you
had
that. $650 more than what we
Let's just say
had in the
not to
capital
exceed
plan.
$15,000.
Right.
I think that's fair.
So this price is actually the current new price as of Friday afternoon.
Oh.
So he got it to me right before I put the packet together.
I'll make a motion for the funding approval request for the back barn roof, not to exceed $15,000.
I'll second. Okay, motion from Beckman and a second by Meridian to purchase the back barn roof for no more than $15,000. Is there any discussion, any more discussion?
Okay.
Is there a roll call vote?
Yes. Beckman?
Yes.
Meridian?
Yes.
Rory?
Yes.
Staring?
Yes.
Verplank?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And Miller?
Yes.
Moving on, we'd like to do performance review. Greg, would you like to go into closed session?
Yes, closed session.
I'll move that we go into closed session.
Support.
Okay.
I think we need a roll call vote for that. I would do one.
Yeah, Beckman supported it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Rory?
Yes.
Beckman?
Yes.
Staring?
Yes.
Verplank?
Yes.
Phelps?
Yes.
Meridian?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Great.
There's that.
Yeah, I move that we end the closed session. and Go into open session.
Okay, we're in open session.
We got to do a roll call
Do
vote
we-
to go out of.
No, you don't. You don't have to do anything.
You
All you
don't?
have to do is move to go out of closed
Okay.
session.
Right.
And, are we gonna take any action on what we did in closed
Well,
session?
that's what I was just wondering, we're getting out of it, but we really haven't made a decision. Number one, I think that was an outstanding review, and
I agree.
obviously the chief only got 2% because of a pissing match, and we all feel that he deserves more. But, you know, what do we do? For
Well, I guess we give it
transparency.
to them. I mean, we decide what people make here in this board. The township doesn't decide, the city doesn't decide, the village Douglas doesn't decide, we decide. So what do we want to give them?
Well, I root for giving him what, the original. I know there is a pissing match, but I think he's underpaid. I think his review just proved at 3.9 average that he deserves a decent raise, and I don't think 4.7 is that high.
I agree.
That's just
I agree too.
my opinion.
So just when I got to,
So I have a problem with having to go back to a board that approved a budget and tell them we just changed
Well, then
everything
you
that they
tell him
approved
the
it on.
board discussed it in detail, and he got great reviews, and it's the way it is. We're the board, and that we,
they just
you know,
approved
and that we discussed
The overall
it,
budget.
and-
the
right.
overall budget. We
Right.
can spend that budget however we want to spend that budget.
So we don't have to go back and...
No.
No.
Not
we
whenever
haven't
they
met.
approve the budget.
It's the board's job to spend it appropriately.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
okay.
it's fair, because I know he's up way underpaid, John's way underpaid.
We know, and I've told them that. We know he's underpaid.
Yeah.
We know that.
But long-term, we need to look at that also.
But we can't just say
He's underpaid.
he's
We need
underpaid.
to
Where,
prove it.
where is it shown? Where have we
Yeah,
done our
all the-
work? Where have we done our due
All the
diligence?
degrees he's gotten, he's more educated than anybody in the state, just about.
And that's where you have to have that type of criteria that warrants, you know.
Okay, we're gonna have a motion on this?
Okay, I move we pay the chief, what was it, 4.7?
It was 4.7, I believe.
4.7.
It was the original amount we suggested.
Second,
South second it.
roll call, or
Just
voice vote?
Voice vote.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Just, I'm trying to get us into open session again.
These tell the guys to come up.
We need to excuse these board members. We have a
Yeah.
6 o'clock meeting.
Well, we have to elect officers.
Can we do that under a special meeting, or they need?
That's gotta be done.
Well,
They've got to go, they've got to go.
we're back in session, we can do whatever we
We're
want.
back in open session.
I'll make the motion with this word and
Yeah.
everything. I'll do the same thing I did last year. I like the way things are
Well, I'm
set
not
up.
going to, so we're in open session.
Right now? I suggest we keep the officers the same as they are.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Okay, we need to vote on it. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? There you go.
Yeah, Jane, you get to do it again.
Sorry we kept you guys, so.
Thanks for staying as late as you did.
Thank you.
Kathy, be careful, do not drive fast. You got
Kathy's
surgery
trying to
tomorrow.
drive. Yeah,
Okay.
drive.
I'll carry.
Just got the couple
Good luck with your surgery.
Yeah, good luck, Kathy.
Oh, gosh.
That, you know, Aaron, that purse really doesn't, purse doesn't match your shoes, for heaven's sake.
First of all, it's too small for you.
It doesn't match your shoes or anything like that. How'd you leave the house?
That's what I ask myself every day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, goodbye.
All right, Chris, for your information, we elected the same officers we had last year, fire board officers.
Motion by Phelps,
Phelps,
second by
second by
Meridian, and we all agreed.
Okay.
Okay, we have a thank you from.
And when did you exit closed session? It was like 10 minutes ago or so?
No.
Oh, it was
3 minutes.
3 minutes ago.
Okay.
5:53.
Yeah.
Are these in people's,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, so we have the two left for correspondence. And, you know, when Greg told me that he got appointed to the training committee,
Firefighter Training Council.
I'm really proud of the fact that Greg got appointed. It's a real honor and a privilege, but it does take him away from us another 4 days a year, so.
Well, that-
Congratulations.
4 days isn't bad.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Well,
Four
but
days,
that's
that's-
still-
They can do the
Okay,
vacation
well,
time for them.
if it's a matter of time, I did 20 hours Wednesday on my day off, and I did my Friday, I did another day off, I did 16 hours, and I worked through the weekend, so just consider it comp time. Okay? So it gives me an opportunity to get out of the office a couple of times a year.
It does.
And I am trying to cut down. I didn't go to a PI last night, and I ended up blocking the roadway. It was another alcoholic problem. So I recognize that, and I am working on cutting down, but I had a short crew this weekend, and I ended up coming in.
Well, I think
But
it-
4th of July was through.
There's times you have to do that.
And I also worked Friday night with a doctor on stress management for the crew. So-
Hey,
Can I
you
come to
also
that
need to
sometime?
know,
What?
Can I come to stress management sometime?
you also need to know, John Miles worked from 5:30 on the 4th of July to midnight. Just so people know that. Congratulations.
So it's not good, though. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm glad you do it, thank you,
But
but
what do we do for employees who are asked to do that type of thing? Is there anything we can do, buy them dinner or do something? Is that?
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, John's, working like 13 days in a row, and it's tough. It's like, you want to talk about a budget. What about all the volunteer hours these guys spend waiting for the call to come on? You don't pay them for that. And what does the feds consider a volunteer hour? $20.14 per hour. That's just simple fact, okay? So that's when I hear this 2% and I hear this, and I'm like, come on, this is not, we're not selling cars here, this is a lot different.
But Greg, part of the problem is you're talking to people who do sell
Yeah,
cars.
I know.
And sell sandpaper and run a restaurant.
And retired.
Retired.
I see what
So
you're doing,
what-
I hear it.
I mean, if we knew, and it goes, like going in front of the judge, you gotta have your information. And if we don't know this stuff, it's hard to get his judgment towards us.
Well, what I did do about the situation to try to get, so I don't have officers working, this whole weekend, is I reached out to 2 fire departments and I said, I want to hire 2 of your guys to work with 2 of ours at the station. how do I fund that? I gotta figure that out because I do a funding, like I do Monday, that adds about $8,500 onto the budget, which we already approved. Thursday was about $8,000 added onto the budget over the years. That's how we ended up with a Monday and a Thursday crew. Wednesday, when they stay at the station, they don't get anything unless there's a call.
I don't, and I agree with you, but here we are, I'm having a flashback. We're patting ourselves and putting $105,000 in the fund balance.
Right.
And we're not paying these guys enough. I have a problem with that.
When my guys, since they were working in oil plants and chemical plants, they were forced to go on PTO. We'd never let that situation go because they could kill themselves or a lot of people because of the exhaustion. We cannot be doing that. If we have to go outside and find some supplemental resourcing, then that perhaps that's the answer. But we can't be doing that to people. It puts them in an unsafe situation.
That's correct. But we also have the problem with where do you find,
Well, understood.
we cannot find.
And I haven't gotten one response yet from the two fire departments I asked.
So Brett Sheridan won't come back anymore? He's done?
I've asked several times, I hound him every time I see him just about, and he's just not, he's too busy with the DNR firefighting and his own job in Holland that he's not interested, so.
No, you can't find people to work.
And even, we did have a couple from the Plainfield, Grand Rapids area, and they were here maybe, 6 months or so, and then they got too busy with their own work there and left too. It's just, and we're not the only ones struggling. This is a statewide, I think nationwide problem.
I think it's a national thing.
Yeah.
Well, the whole community is struggling. The cities can't find enough summer help. Nobody can.
Right.
Even Maryland, I'm sure, has had a hard time. We had a hard time.
So
People
at
are
some
crying.
point, the heads of state are gonna have to sit down and talk about this. That there is no help, and there's no affordable housing if you do get help. So,
Not here anyway.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we've got a gal that needs a place to stay for a month of August because her parents sold her house.
Yeah, and what do you do with them? I mean,
That's going to be a long-term problem.
absolutely, but we have to talk about how we're gonna solve this problem. We have to talk about it at some point, or we're gonna have to go out of business.
But I think one way is to look at giving a stipend. We offer, we can't change the stipend for a different department. You offer them $40 for a shift, and then whatever calls there are, they'll make some money during the summer. They won't for sitting here during the winter time, but then we could hopefully pare back.
So is it a summer, is it a seasonal issue? Obviously, there's more calls, okay.
Yeah, because, like July, where you average maybe 50, 60 calls a month, you're doing 110, 117 calls.
If it were my budget and I was running my company, I would make sure during that period, in my budget, was a pool of money that was there for supplemental resources. And why we're not doing it, I don't know, if you can find the people. But we may have to address that through funding.
Well, I don't think we've done it because we never had to do it before.
No.
I mean, there's just more demands for the fire service now than there ever have been.
So that cost is going to go up, and we just have to understand that.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's
But I
move
guess
on.
my thing is, if we need more firemen, then we should get them. If we can.
find them.
I think that, yeah,
That's the whole thing. You can't-
the optimum way, and I know we can't deviate too much on, talk about this, the optimum way is you just pay a firefighter. That's what happened with Chris Bernhardy. We needed to establish a part-time person, and that's how we hired Chris Bernhardy. Because you can't gonna sit here for $40 for a 12-hour
No, you
shift,
can't.
when it's his livelihood.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
we started him out at $15 an hour, that's what he makes now. And he gets 3 calls a day, if there are calls, which there have been now. But that's one of the things, and Bernhardy's hourly wage is gonna change, because it's not right.
We have,
But that's what we started out, just to see if we could, will this work? So either the stipend with other agencies, or hiring, and we did try it, and we had the guy from Plainfield, 2 of them that withdrew. They got too busy. So between those 2 avenues, that's the most economical way to do it.
I think as a board, we hear you. We need to hear your suggestions, your recommendations.
Right.
And we need to support what you guys come up with.
Yep.
You're the expert. I don't know what you need, except I know you need help.
okay, well, let's get, you and I get together with Peter, and possibly we'll have a special board meeting in a couple weeks. talk about this again?
That'd be fine.
Absolutely.
That'd be fine.
All right,
Yeah, we got a new budget, let's figure out how it should be utilized.
all right.
And if next year we need to get more, we will.
Okay, all right, moving on, we really need to, public comment? Fire board comment? Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I have nothing.
I have seen.
Did you have the...
Oh, yeah, the IC spreadsheet, when are we gonna see that?
Yeah, I actually talked to Eric about that Friday and then again this morning, because we thought of some things. We had the Skylink was on there that occurred over 4th of July.
I don't wanna come with a whole list of things that occurred over a 4-month period and say fix them all. I want monthly, I committed to my constituents who are gonna vote for me in August, hopefully, in my board, that I was gonna bring that sheet to them monthly and address it, so that we're on top of it, not all at once, so I need to see it. It should be on the agenda for the next meeting at a minimum.
Well,
It can't be that hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, I mean,
It is hard because you gotta figure out what differentiates it between what you do now and what the fire code, how is it applicable. For example, you take a recreational fire, campfire. Can they burn or not? The ordinance says they can burn. But the problem is, how is it governed? Recreational fires are a certain size and a certain distance from the house, okay? It's all specified. However, the fire code is no longer applicable to a single-family dwelling. When that, I say two-family dwelling as well. So, if you have a person taking a campfire that's 4 by 3, right off the bat, the fire code isn't applicable, you have no enforcement.
and we ran into that issue.
No. Well, we think we have two.
We have a couple of issues,
Right,
but...
because now we have to go back, because we didn't figure out how is this impact. It's not easy. We don't have all the answers on it.
So we're building this list retrospectively? Is that what we're doing?
I
We're
thought we
going
were
back to,
gonna go...
oh, remember this
My
time?
response to that is, why didn't you guys build a list? Because you're the one who changed the code.
Because this board directed you guys to put a list together, and that's how we were gonna protect ourselves.
So, yeah, to answer you, we
Yeah.
are doing it retroactively
Okay.
because that's what's required. I don't have all the answers because I don't know how the impact on all this. And Eric, tell this board, I just said, hey, you know what? We have recreational fire and bonfires is something that we can't go back. We can't govern. There's an open burning ordinance that's allowed. However, anybody can just burn whatever they want, is whatever size they want, and the fire code was specific, but it no longer applies now. That's what we mean. We didn't realize that when that was drafted.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's not what my intent was. This list is
No,
things
me
you've
either.
come across where you said, something the township has done has risked life, whatever, all you've been saying in the paper. I need to go back to them and say, look, this is where an example of where that's happening. Because right now, I got this. I got nothing.
Right, and
I can't give
that's
any-
what Aaron recommended too,
Right.
in that discussion of, let's keep the list of incidents that happened
Right.
that we couldn't do anything because they changed
And then
it.
I can go to the township at a board meeting for my fire board report and say, here's an incident happened, and here's the results of it. And I can certainly go to Steve Cushion and say, what do you want to do about this? Either include it in our ordinance, in our zoning, or somehow you have to address this. So, that's the intent of that
But the
spreadsheet.
reason those things weren't identified is...
I'm not
we
looking for
didn't
some big
know.
expose of why the...
Neither am I.
Okay.
I don't have the time to...
Then don't do it, just
to
keep
do
a
that.
list. If you haven't, let's keep a list and let's see it
But
monthly.
it's just not that easy, okay? It's just not that easy. But I do have a list. I have it right here. It started. So,
All right,
this is what I want to get the township.
Right.
okay, is there any other fire board comment?
I got nothing,
Okay.
except you missed Corey's letter.
She
You can read it.
She wasn't gonna...
I read it.
For time constraints.
That's fine.
Did you want to read it?
I already read it.
That was very nice.
Okay. We're adjourned.